Welcome, everybody. It's Michael Falato again with Full Throttle Leaders Podcast. We have Alina Vandenberghe.
Vandenberghe.
Okay, I got it right. The co-founder of Chili Piper, some product solution that has been such talked about in the space of SaaS and software and sales. Tell me a little bit how this whole Chili Piper came up.
Thank you for having me. I started working like you did in many organizations and many structures, and I realized that I was a horrible employee, a very unhappy one, because I always want to break and change the rules. So I decided to start Chili Piper 20 years ago and just create something that I wish I had worked in and I never found. So it's became a project since 2016 for me and my co-founder. And now we're in 40 countries and we're doing things very differently than most companies.
How big is the company right now, like size-wise?
We- so we are in 40 countries. We are fully remote and employee-wise or agents-wise,
Mhm.
like humans, 150
Wow, that's incredible. And then is your headquarters in Brooklyn or is there
in
headquarters? Yeah. Okay.
Brooklyn.
And then you mentioned earlier that you and your husband started the company, or did you meet your husband working with him, and then basically he was at Chili Piper, or tell me about the love story of that portion of this.
No, we did meet through work. We had separate paths. I started building my career in corporate America, and I wanted to be CEO of a Fortune 500 company. That was my dream when I was little.
Mhm.
And I started as an intern in 2008 in New York. In about 6 years or so, I got all the way to senior vice president in a large scale up.
Mhm.
um, I was getting ready to kind of go to the next stage to be an employee as far to the executive, to the C-suite as I could. And I realized that I was not meant to be an employee. On the other side, my husband was starting different ventures. Some of them went well, some of them less well. His strength is um, people management and operations and sales, and my strength is product and engineering. So we figured that we could try to work together and see if it works, and it worked out.
Awesome. What's some tips and tools that you're enjoying right now as far as AI teaming up with either with Chili Piper and their solution, or something that you're using on the side that's really been pretty helpful for your company.
So about 3 years ago, I decided that me and my husband were co-CEOs, but we serve marketers. We serve mostly VP of marketing, CMOs, and I just couldn't understand why so many CMOs have such a short tenure in the companies that we were serving. And I could observe them from far, but I've never been a CMO. I've always worked in tech and as a product lead or on the engineering front. And even though I could understand their tension from outside, I felt like it would be a lot better for me if I took the acting CMO role at Chili Piper. And I had 22 marketers at that time. And the reason why I'm saying that is because we went down from 22 marketers to two marketers. And we mostly automated everything using agents, and it was the most brutal job I've ever had. It was the hardest job I've ever had. But I only managed to survive it is because I've approached it through a very um, engineering mindset to how agents can help with demand generation and all the things. So since 3 years ago, we started deploying thousands of agents to create pipeline, and that's been my biggest transformation at Chili Piper than in the past 10 years.
So if you had to explain this to a CRO, why they choose Chili Piper, what it does, I would love to hear that explanation because I think I know a little bit, but I don't think I have the subject matter expertise, even we're close to you. So I want you to explain this to marketing salespeople that might be listening, and then maybe even dumb it down to someone that's just a salesperson.
So we started with a very simple use case when somebody came on the website, making sure that the person doesn't waste the salesperson time and they're qualified and they can get directly to a qualified meeting that's being held. That was the first use case that we started serving. And now these days, all of those things, we used to do it with very simple logic in software, like around the qualification process. If you have like the email address of someone, you can know if they're qualified because you can enhance their title. You can know what their company size is. You know where they are in their organization, etc. So you know from the email address, you know a lot, and you can route it to the right person in the company. And there could be a lot of complex logic around it. So, for instance, we have Verizon as customers, we have Meta. And you can imagine there's a lot of complexity around which salesperson should handle that customer because they might be already talking to someone. Um, so we started with that kind of simple logic, and now we have a suite of agents that are making sure that any inbound signal is being turned into pipeline.
And then, as I understood, Chili Piper, it had 4 or 5 different things from different um, module type solutions, right? I mean, you had a scheduling, a routing. Could you explain like the different tools that help make the sales team function much better?
It depends a lot on the makeup of each company because we have like very strong PLG teams. Like for instance, Monday.com is a very
Monday.com?
Monday.com, yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
very strong PLG motion. So we serve different use cases. I would not say it's in terms of products and routing and scheduling and chat and all of that. I think that it's a lot better to look at it in terms of use cases within the funnel or type of things that could be turning that signal into pipeline. So for instance, for Monday.com, we have a solution that helps them once somebody starts a free trial, for instance, making sure that they're being routed and they're being exposed within that in-app experience to the person who can take that free trial to an expansion, only if it's like a high PQL, like a product qualified lead, and making sure that they're being touched in all the right places to be able to be converted. So we automate all of that process in order to create the activities that are going to be most conducive to that sales qualified opportunity from different modalities, whether it could be, in this case, for Monday.com in-app, but we also have, for instance, in 2 weeks, I think we're going to announce that we are the only one in the space that also integrates with LinkedIn Forms. So in the LinkedIn form, you can direct someone to the right rep, depending on who they are on LinkedIn, to be able to talk to that salesperson. So
Off
it's
off
all
the off the profile or off the corporate page or both?
uh, in LinkedIn, from LinkedIn advertising, you have, I don't know if you've ever been targeted yourself, but you
Oh,
can
yeah.
see like
Okay. Yeah, the
an
phone.
ad, and that ad typically has you go to a landing page. On the landing page, you have to identify, tell them who you are before you talk to a salesperson. So we're going to be the first ones to have an integration and the only ones to have an integration with LinkedIn where we already know who that person is that's coming from a LinkedIn ad, and being able to directly say, hello, Michael, you should be
Yeah.
talking to Mary because she's already in touch with you, and having
But
that kind of red
you're
carpet
not
to.
having to give permission. I don't know if it's called OAuth or whatever it is to a single SSO, single sign on or whatever. You don't have to do all that stuff.
There's nothing needed from the prospect perspective to remove friction to making sure that they get to that salesperson.
I actually worked with Jeff Weiner, who is the chairman or was the chairman of LinkedIn at Warner Brothers. So it's interesting to see his path go from Warner Brothers to Yahoo, then running LinkedIn. It's pretty impressive. But yeah, LinkedIn is amazing. It's a uh, billion contacts on there. So if you work with them and make that path easier, there's so many people that put too much, do this, do that, and then you can talk to someone. It's like, you just lost me. I don't want to fill out 20 pieces of forms just to talk to somebody.
And
So
if somebody is an executive, they're not going to want to talk to a junior SDR to be qualified. So
no,
these are the kind of path that within our app they can pick, because there's no need for a junior SDR anymore to qualify. That's the kind of thing that can be done very easy with AI. So we have like a agentic, like what people call an AI SDR, an inbound AI SDR that does all of that
yeah.
junior level work, and making sure that from a buyer perspective they have like the best possible experience, because with AI, you can have so much context So, like for instance, Michael is coming to my website. He's been visiting all these web pages already. He's been already in this webinar. He already read our ebooks. He's already interacted with our social media page. We already know so much about Michael. So we're going to say, oh, welcome back. You already know about these things. Are you ready to talk to Mary now? Or do you want directly to buy? And here's like the best buying process ever that you've experienced. So there are multiple paths in which the prospect can be taken to be able to close one. And we deal with that complexity because we've been in the space and seen a lot of edge cases. And now with agentic workflows with AI, this is so much more, the personalization can be so much more impressive.
What would you say you run up to against when you're trying to win business? Like, is there a particular competitor, or is it more module based on what you do?
Different parts of our application we have different competitors for different parts that we do. So for instance, on the routing piece, we have Lean Data as a competitor. They don't do as much as we do, but they're well known for the routing piece. For the website facing pieces, we compete with a company called Qualify that was just acquired by Salesforce. Um, yeah. So we have several competitors depending on the different parts that we serve.
And what's your golden ICP? Like, is it a mid market? Is it an enterprise team? How do you charge for Chili Piper?
So my best segment by far is enterprise. They have the highest NRR in my segmentation. Then second best is high mid-market, third best mid-market. And now, funny enough, my SMB segment is starting to do better. I used to have horrible NRR on SMB,
Mhm.
but now it's been 20 points up these past 10 months. I don't really know what's happening, but something's going well with the SMB segment too.
What would you say there's something that worked really well that you're like, I want to pass this on to your viewers? Kind of like what you did on the roundtable that you joined. We talked about either like a win or something that you did. You're like, oh my God, I don't want to do that again. But we passed that knowledge on. What advice would you give, either positive or negative, that you learned from that is making you a better CEO right now?
I've had so many learnings when I was an acting CMO, and I would say that my top ones, the biggest mistake that I've made, and the reason why my CAC was so high and I had such a big marketing team that was wasting dollars, is that we were trying to go after everybody. Like we were spending so much on advertising, we were spending so much on events by being too wide with who we're going after. And the way we fix that is by looking at our customer base, seeing what the segments that don't churn, the segments that have a high NRR, and just like being a lot more narrow focused on our ICP and how we score the accounts and how we target them. That was like by far the biggest win. Um, in terms of learnings, the piece that we were doing wrong, we would give accounts to my SDRs that were not yet warmed up. Like cold accounts to SDRs are the worst. And it requires at least 15 touches or so with nurturing and
You needed a
help
more
on top.
seasoned, you needed a more seasoned person, or it was just too far cold to
No,
touch.
it's just the account was cold, and
Yeah.
we can, like, our SDRs cannot close cold accounts, and not only that, but it's not only touches on the account; it's like touches on the right buyer, because like the buying groups are larger and larger, and making sure that you have top of the funnel activities for most of the buyers in the buying group, increase the odds of close. Yeah.
Earlier, we kind of talked about channel. What channel do you feel like is the best for you or for your clients? I mean, that could be a loaded question just because there's so many different clients. But let's just say for Chili Piper, events, LinkedIn, email, intent data. Like, what is like the number one thing that you're loving that's getting you the right customer, the right time, faster, as far as lead gen goes?
In our case, because of the way we're approaching an account and the way we're selling, I think that what has been most effective for us is the variation of channels. So not having just one channel, just like LinkedIn and me
Yeah.
posting on it,
Mhm.
or just web events or just webinars, is the ability to be in multiple places at once. I think that it was very hard for us when we were putting all our eggs in one basket and we were doing just a few things. Like the variation is what helps, and we would do a lot of things with partners, with communities. Um, because the more places you see Chili Piper, the more likely would have trust. So that's like one piece. I would say that for your audience specifically, and for you because you've been in sales most, what has made the biggest difference in the past 12 months for us is an increased focus in training our sales team on trust building. My co-founder is leading this training, and our blended close rate was somewhere around 27%. Was pretty decent, like for
Yeah.
a combination of outbound and inbound. And right now is 38.
Wow.
Our close rate, our blended close rate is
That's good.
38.
That's
And
good.
it's all because of the training that we do on trust building. And I think that the reason why it has like the biggest impact for our funnel is because we're living such unprecedented times where everybody's going through so much transformation from every possible angle, that the ability of a salesperson to be fully there for the buyer to help them navigate through the different things to sell internally, because that's like a, a job on its own, has made the biggest difference.
It's a Chili Piper name.
Mhm.
Tell me a little bit about how that came up and what is it? What does it mean?
I didn't come up with it. It was
No.
my husband who did.
Hmm.
And there are two lenses to it. The way I've viewed it is like chili is hot and piper is pipeline, like hot pipeline. That was like my angle. His pipeline, his view is that he saw this ad for champagne that's called Piper High Tech, and he really liked it. It was like really cool, and like it was like it was a yeah. So he viewed it from that champagne Piper High Tech.
Mine was pretty easy. Just that full throttle guy in a Marine. It's a black belt jiu-jitsu, and I'm a black belt jiu-jitsu, but I'm Air Force. He goes, "You're full throttle all the time." I'm like, wait, that rhymes with my name, so that's the easy way I came up with it. I bumped it off of Marine.
That's funny.
Yeah, but yeah, thanks for being on the show today. How do people get a hold of you, and who should get a hold of you? Or do you want to basically pass along kind of a sales at Chili Piper email to reach out to? So what's the best way to find more out about your company?
Well, obviously, our website, but something that I do that is helping me a lot and helps the people that I interact with as well is that I'm still myself on LinkedIn. There's no AI bot, so I'm still the one who goes through the comments and talks to people and talks through DMs to people. Um, and I enjoy that. I
Hmm.
enjoy learning like how people interact. And whenever I post something on LinkedIn, I post it out of curiosity because I really want to learn something, and people comment and I learn. I really enjoy that part, that I'm still myself.
Asking a question is been another tip that I've done. It's like, yeah, you go to like this event. Do you know anything about the show? Is it good? And not even talking about a roundtable or a podcast. That has been like I did it. It was about inbound, and I sent it to 4,000 people, and 600 people responded. Like I'm not going, or I don't know what that is, and I don't care like what they say. I just want to open that channel again on first or second connections. And I was like, man, this you learn so much things by just trial and error. So that's one of the things that I loved. But yeah, there's I would definitely check out Chili Piper if you're interested in some sales tools and some communication tools and just overall what you call a pipeline solution or what would you
The
how would you
umbrella,
umbrella like what would you wrap around on as what Chili Piper does before we end the show? Like as far
it's
as the yeah, go ahead.
agentic based experiences for website conversion.
There you go. There you go. The
I
whole thing
also can
right
call
there.
it demand conversion
The
platform. I don't know.
conversion.
There's many things. It seems to it's hard to explain, and it seems like a mouthful. Overall, it's like signal to pipeline that we care
That's a
about.
good.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Signal to pipeline. I think that's sweet to the point, and you can even put that underneath your LinkedIn. Oh, one more thing before you go. The hat, the sailor hat on your LinkedIn. What's the story behind the captain hat or on your LinkedIn?
I love dressing up for Halloween and stuff. So that was my suit for Halloween one time. But my husband has a boat now that we sold secondaries. We at some point we got like close to $1 billion valuation for the company. So
How
he
much?
he got close to $1 billion
Jeez.
valuation. Yeah, and he got himself a boat. So it's like we're the captains of the boats.
Get this boat. So you're gonna need a bigger boat.
We need a bigger boat. We always need a bigger boat because
Yeah.
we don't know what's gonna happen.
Well, if you're ever down in Florida, come say hi and thanks for your time.
Thank you for having me.